Fame, and we are back with another college football related video. This is actually going to be an NFL draft. So this is not college football related because these are college football athletes going into the NFL and my thoughts on them. So we're actually going to be doing 3 rounds of this. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I know I still haven't released the first round, but by the time you see this, the first round, I'm not gonna do it a full 7. I think 3 is the most I'll ever do. So I'll do this one, my third round, and then closer to the draft, I will do one more mock draft in a sense for you guys. But make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let's get to it, guys. So the Chicago Bears have the number 1 overall pick. No trades. I did trades in my last one. I'm not doing trades on this one. It's just too much work. I'm gonna go with Caleb Williams. Obviously, the A plus there. So in this scenario, they would trade Justin Fields. I don't know who, but they ended up trading. Washington has a 2nd overall pick. They have between Drake May, Jaden Daniels. Now, here's the issue here that I have. If I give Washington my person that I think should go number 2 in Drake May, New England, who's my favorite team, but I also know that their organization, they're not going to want Jaden Daniels. They're then going to want to trade out of that pick. And I don't want to do trades. So for the sake of this argument, I'm going to be doing Jaden Daniels for number 2, and number 3 is going to be Drake May. The draft still hasn't gotten interesting because we all know Marvin Harrison Jr., and at least my big board is the 2nd best overall prospect behind Caleb Williams. So he is going to go to the Cardinals. That's obvious. The 5th is when it gets interesting because they're going to be getting rid of Mike Williams, likely the Chargers. So you should see that within the next week that they will be cutting Mike Williams or trading him. They don't need a quarterback. They have Justin Herbert. So they may need another wide receiver because Quentin Johnson has not stepped up. Or they could look for offensive tackle. Remember, Jim Harbaugh is the new head coach. They love to run the football, and but there's no running back that's worth it. So offensive tackle is going to be a big need. Tight end is a ginormous need for them as well, as they do not have a current tight end on their roster that's worth anything. So this is so interesting. I'm going to lean towards they're going to go offensive tackle here. And I think if you're going to go offensive tackle, there is no better one for in terms of what they want to do in terms of smash mouth, running the football, big mountain of a man, Joel Alt. New York Giants here. They desperately need a wide receiver. They desperately need a quarterback. Now, there's no quarterback to reach for this late or this early in the draft. I think at 39, they will find a good quarterback or a quarterback to compete with Daniel Jones at least. So for me here, they're going to take a wide receiver. It's between Romeo Odunze, Malik Neighbors. I love both. I think they're interchangeable. They're both equal in terms of what I would or who I would choose. Both did not run at the combine. They will be running at the pro day. So we will see how that goes, but I believe they will take Malik Neighbors. Now, Tennessee. They need offensive tackle, cornerback, wide receiver, running back, edge. I mean, they need it all. They need it truly all. So in my opinion, it's going to be difficult, in my opinion, to see them not go for something that they're desperately in need of, right? And if you look at offensive tackles here, there's a lot of them. I mean, they just need somebody. And I think Talise Fuega, phenomenal player. I think he goes earlier than what other people would believe. I think he's going to be a smashing success in the NFL. Atlanta, wide receiver and edge are probably the number 1, 2, along with quarterback. Or quarterback's 1, edge 2, 3 is wide receiver. They're not going to go wide receiver this early. I believe they choose Dallas Turner. Chicago's back on the board. They desperately need a wide receiver. But as you can see how the board is kind of shaking up here and how things have been moving around, the selection is going to be interesting because I believe they take Romeo Odunze there. Jets, offensive tackle, or Brock Bowers. It is literally as plain and black and white as you can see. You do not need there's no other position you're going to go right now, right? There's Olu Fashanu. It's hard because Olu Fashanu reminds me so much of Mekhi Becton when he came in the league. Not that many starts, a ginormous body, can't stay healthy, right? I don't think the Jets take that risk again. I actually honestly can't see them taking that risk again because I don't think that's a smart move to take with what they are trying to accomplish. I think they take JC Latham there at that pick. Great right tackle, so at least that shores up one side of the offensive line. Minnesota, we all know they're going Jared Verse. I mean, it's so widely known they're going with Jared Verse. Denver is going quarterback. It's a must at that position. Letting Russ go, you cannot go into the season with just Jarrett Stidham. It's impossible. Even though I think the way that Sean Payton wants to play is more of what Bo Nix is than JJ McCarthy. I think they take JJ McCarthy because I think he makes a call to Jim and Jim vouches for him. Las Vegas. They also need a quarterback. They will not be selecting one at 13. That is extremely high to take Bo Nix or Michael Penix at that time, or at this time. They're going to be taking either Quentin Mitchell or Terrion Arnold. Now, Quentin Mitchell put on a show at the Combine, so it could be interesting to see if they decide to go with Quinyon Mitchell, but I believe they take Alabama. Terrion Arnold. 14th pick. Sorry, I don't understand. I don't know what that's going on. But 14th pick, interesting. They need a lot of help in a lot of different places. This is where I think Brock Bowers comes off the board. He just makes too much sense with Jimmy Graham for them to choose for them not to choose him. Indianapolis corner, they're going Quinyon Mitchell. I don't think that's even a discussion for them. The Seahawks. Seahawks are interesting. They need a lot on the offensive defensive line, but I also think they understand where they're going. So I think they choose Latu, whatever. From actually Washington University. Then was his career was supposed to be medically retired. He gets reinstated with UCLA, plays well, and now is going back up to the Northwest. Jaguars, they're going corner, and they're going Nate Wiggins. Cincinnati needs offensive tackle. But do you go with Olu Fashanu or Mary's Mims get hurt a lot? Olu Fashanu kind of gets hurt. So it's kind of really tough on where you're going to go. There's no tight end worth mentioning here. There is cornerbacks, though, if you were looking for that. I don't think they're going to be in that market there. I actually believe they choose Troy Fanatu because I think they've seen him in Washington, who's on the Butkus Award winning offensive line. I think they definitely want to choose there at that time. Rams are going corner. They're going Cooper DeJean. They absolutely need a corner / safety kind of guy. He fits what they want perfectly. Pittsburgh's in a little bit of a tough spot because you need offensive line help like never before. So you're either looking at Olu Fashanu, right? Or you're looking at another corner, but I don't know if any of them have made an impact enough for you to really believe to be next to Joey Porter Jr. So I have them taking Olu Fashanu in the mid to kind of late first round. Miami. Interesting what they need, but it's also known what they need, right? So I think they end up taking, especially with Christian Wilkinson leaving, I think they need Chop Robinson, edge off of Penn State. Philly. Philly needs a lot of help. There's no linebackers to go in the first round. Sorry, there's none. So they look at edge. Probably nobody there that they really like. There's no Georgia player that stands out right now for them to take this early in the draft, right? There's no safety going in the first round. So you also look at defensive line. They have plenty of those. I think they understand that they need a corner, and I think they end up taking. Oof. It's hard because I don't really see a corner here either that I would like to take. I think they take Jackson Powers Johnson. They need to replace Jason Kelsey. I think that they understand that, and he's also a center, so he literally fits right into from Jason Kelsey. Houston defensive line. They're going all day, every day. Brian Murphy. They saw him in state. They're not letting him leave the state. Offensive tackle. I already know who they're wanting is Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. They have an affection for Oklahoma players. They will be drafting that position hard. Corner is number one need. I think they take Enos Rackshaw from Missouri. Tampa, edge and corner. I think they take, especially if they're letting Shaq Barrett go, they're going to take Darius Robinson. Arizona at 27th pick. They already took the wide receiver that they want. They need to protect Kyler Murray. I think they love Jordan Morgan here. Buffalo, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. They need a speed demon. They're choosing Brian Thomas Jr. all day, every day. Detroit is in a lot of trouble with what they need, and they know that. Is there a corner? Do you take Kool-Aid McKinstry when really you don't know, when you could just choose Jazar Newton? I think they love the Illinois product. They end up choosing him. Baltimore, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Right? They have Zay Burner. I think they know who they want. And it's Adonai Mitchell. They want the big, strong wide receiver for Lamar Jackson to go along with Rashad and Zay. They do not bring back Odell in this situation. San Francisco, it's tough. There's nobody really for them to really grab at this spot. That's great. I think they end up taking Duke's Graham Barton. Great pick there. Wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Now, they have Rashee Rice, right? They don't really have the burner that they truly want. I think this is where Xavier Worthy comes into play there. And he's an absolute great pick. Wide receiver for Carolina is a must. Must. And I think they know that as well. This is where they love Troy Franklin. They love the Oregon players who could just take the top off. For New England, they need wide receivers in the worst way. They also need offensive linemen in the worst way. Is there an offensive lineman that they are interested in? And that's going to be the case. They take Amarius Mims in the second round because he's fallen far enough for them to be interested in him. Arizona, again, back at the table here. I think they look at this and they look at the linebacker position as a need here. And I think that Edgerrin Cooper could make a lot of sense for them there. Washington is going to be looking at the cornerback position and take, or you can look at the edge position. Or D-line position. I don't think they're looking at the D-line position, but I do think they could look at the corners and take Kool-Aid McKinstry. there. Now here it comes, right? Here's what they're looking at. We need somebody. And it's going to be I believe it will likely be a wide receiver, but I think they take Ladd McConkey. Tennessee desperately needs a wide receiver. All day, every day, it's Keon Coleman. New York Giants. Hey, I can say wide receiver again because that's how bad they are at wide receiver position. But I do think the Giants love a certain quarterback. His name happens to be Michael Penix Jr. Washington, after taking Jaden, taking Kool-Aid McKinstry, they're looking on the edge here with Braylon Trice. Green Bay, all day, every day, they're looking at something for them to get excited about, right? They would love for running back to be there for them. Unfortunately, there really is none. So they're going to take Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota. Minnesota Vikings come up. They're in need of a corner or an interior offensive lineman, but I don't see one really that ready to go. So Kamari Lassiter ends up being the corner there for them. Atlanta, interesting. They do need a wide receiver. Is there one that you're really interested in? Probably not. So I think you look more towards what you're hoping could be somebody that can really help you out. Took Dallas Turner. There's not really a defensive lineman that you really love here at this spot. I'm going to go. It's tough. So let's say they don't get Justin Fields. I think Bo Nix would then be the spot there. And I think Las Vegas is pissed that they do not have Bo Nix there because that's who they were going to end up taking, which hurts them in a bad way. But I do believe they understand where they're at, and they're going to take Zach Frazier from West Virginia. New Orleans in the first round. They're going to be taking Kingsley Samera. Colts, they need a lot of help in certain positions. They're going to go edge, and it's going to be Alabama's Chris Braswell. Here goes the New York Giants, right? They got a second round pick, Michael Penix Jr. First round pick, Malik Neighbors. They need offensive linemen. It's going to be between Patrick Paul and Cooper Beebe. I don't think they're going to replace the offensive lineman that they have. I think it's interior. It's Cooper Beebe is who they decide to take here. For Jacksonville, they need a lot of help. Just somebody to help them out anywhere, almost in a sense, would be helpful. I think they take Chris Jenkins here. Cincinnati would love a tight end if one was there. There's not one really there, right? So they're now looking at, okay, how bad is the corner? It's interesting. I don't know if they will pick one there, but you'll have to see on that one. I do believe they want somebody who can stuff the run, so I do think they take Brandon Fisk there. Philly again. I'm on the road again. After taking Jackson Powers Johnson in the first round, finally getting another pick here. I think they take Peyton Wilson from NC State. They need another linebacker that can go sideline to sideline. They desperately need a corner. There isn't one necessarily there. They already took Olu Fashanu, so they're going to be looking on the defensive line here. I think, in my opinion, as there's no real person to really have there, I think they take T'Vondre Sweat. Rams are interesting, because I think they need offensive line help as well. Patrick Paul. Philly again comes up. Philly is interesting. I think they they need another wide receiver, yes, but who they select is going to be very important. I believe then at that point they will. Oof, there's also safety there. They have not taken, so they might take Cameron Kitchens here actually from Miami. Cleveland wide receiver help, and this is where Xavier Legette goes. Miami offensive tackle and defensive line are two things that they desperately need, along with corner. But I believe they go tight end and they choose Jontavian Sanders there. Dallas is interesting. Dallas needs a lot. Outside of offensive tackle, um, probably looking at another linebacker, defense, definitely a defensive lineman here, and I think they reach and get Michael Hall from the Ohio State University. Tampa Bay, very interesting here, as they probably know that there's nobody that they truly are going to love here at this position. And there's not a running back worth taking really. So I think they're going to go corner and Michael Saracidi from Michigan, the second corner next to Will Johnson, who obviously was only a sophomore last year. Green Bay desperately needs running backs. There's not a running back to take. So they're looking D line, nothing really that they love there. Nobody really at the tight end spot. It's really tough right now. They're gonna go ahead and I believe this is tough because they don't need a whole lot. The defense is still pretty good here, so I can't see. But they're not. I know running backs, but I don't think the running back market starts there. Christian Haynes out of UConn. Houston, wide receiver. They need it, and they need it really bad. I think they end up taking another Michigan guy next to Nico, Roman Wilson. Buffalo already got their wide receiver, so they're looking for a very different lens than most. Obviously, the release of safeties and corners are really going to be probably something that they're going to look much more into. And I think they actually take their first risk here with TJ Tampa from Iowa State with his really long reach. Detroit, corners, but there's none. So it's probably safety Javon Bullard, even though, yes, they have Brian Branch, but they'll be losing CJ Gardner Johnson, so they need another safety to replace that. They took Adonai Mitchell. They need corner or edge. None of those too much fit the bill, but they're going to have to go with someone here. I They could go Roy Okorohu too. Well, I think at this point it's probably best off the board. So yes, you choose Roku. Offense of tackle here. or you take edge. Yeah, there's not really an offensive tackle that you would really take, and it's hard because they have they've drafted so well that it makes it hard for me to see who would even make sense for them. I'm gonna go edge here. Marshawn Kneeland, Kansas City. They chose Xavier Worthy, so they're gonna look for offensive tackle and edge here. Fortunately for them, I don't really see an offensive tackle for them, and edge doesn't look great. Tight end doesn't look great. Linebackers could be interesting though, and I do think they're taking one in Junior Colson. Carolina really needs to nail this. They took Troy Franklin in the early in the second round. We're in the third. Where do they go? And I think they take an edge, and they're gonna take a decent as Isaac, and since because I think both teams were gonna take edges, so now this frees them up to take Jonah Ellis here. Washington is interesting because they need a linebacker, and they're gonna take Jeremiah Trotter here. New England needs running and corners. I do see them here taking a running back and Jonathan Brooks, first running back off the board. Los Angeles Chargers are definitely need to replace Austin Eckler, Day Chase, Blake Corum, the Michigan men. Giants, they need to replace Saquon Barkley. So I also could see them taking a running back or a defensive lineman. They could take Mason Smith, who's actually probably a better one. Definitely Arizona Cardinals, you will see them taking a running back here in the third round. Here they will take Trey Benson. New York Jets finally, after 62 picks have come off the board since their last one with J.C. Latham. Jets are in a pretty interesting situation here as they need help pretty bad. I think they go safety with Kalen Bullock. Detroit here needs to figure out what they're gonna do at corner. And I think they take Max Melton here. Atlanta has Bo Nix and Dallas Turner. They're gonna go wide receiver here, and I think they take Ricky Pearsall out of the University of Florida by way of Arizona State. Chicago, it's been a long time since they had a pick. They're going to probably really look to go offensive line more than likely then. And Dominic Honey or Cedric Van Pran. I think they're going to take Cedric Van Pran at that point. Corner or wide receiver, I could see them taking a corner, and Chris Abrams drains. Still no quarterback is going to be probably picked right now. I don't see one, even though they desperately do need one. I think, especially they need to replace Josh Jacobs, they're going to go running back here, and they're going to go ahead and take Braylon Allen. Seattle, it's been a long time since they picked from Latu. They also need a quarterback. They could go Spencer Rattler, and I think they do go Spencer Rattler here at that pick. Surprise pick in the third round. Atlanta is interested in looking, but there's not much that they would like to pick that they could pick from. But they are going to go with Kieran Abelabiji. Cincinnati, it's been a long time since they picked. They don't have a tight end available for them. They're going to go corner here and choose Keelan Carson. Seahawks, just took Spencer Rattler, so they're looking at likely an offensive tackle. There is none. So linebacker, there really isn't one either. Safety. Okay, so safety in Jaden Hicks, especially since they released both their safeties, so they probably are going to look for another safety there. Defensive line, no. Interior of offensive line, Dominic Punny goes there. Los Angeles Rams, there really isn't that much to go off of, but I think they choose Zach Zinter. Yeah, they're gonna have to go corner here, and Kyrie Jackson is the next one to pick up for them. They need running back desperately. This is where they choose Bucky Irving. Houston also needs running backs, but not a running back to pick currently, so they might gonna have to address that in free agency. But they may go corner here though, and go with Cam Hart from Notre Dame. Wide receiver is going to be number one then at this point. And here, I believe they have identified someone who's going to bring the pain in Malachi Corley. Green Bay is looking and would really like to choose a running back here. Still none that they really like. Um, they're going to end up going interior offensive. Nope, they already went there. I don't want to go there again. May go tight end. They don't currently have a good tight end. So, yeah. They're going to go with Cade Stover from The Ohio State University. Tampa, Tampa, Tampa. They're going to go. Yeah. I think they're going to go ahead and get Cole Bishop from Utah. Arizona has addressed pretty much all their needs, their pressing needs, but I think they're going to go and look at corner and defensive line, but end up taking an interior into Christian Mahogany. Green Bay here. Again, they're going to be looking at our running back, and I think they take Will Shipley here. Detroit, wide receiver. I think they need one. They desperately want one. And I think they end up taking Devontae Walker, which is a great pick there. Baltimore is interesting. Baltimore needs running backs and cornerbacks. They end up taking DJ James here. San Francisco is wide receiver. They're going to take Brendan Rice, Jared Rice's son. Great reunion. Great thing to talk about there. There's no real offensive tackle to take. There's no linebacker to take. There's no tight end to take. Edge, not really. They're not going to take a backup quarterback this early. Line. Okay, so they're going to end up taking Miami's Leonard Taylor here. Jacksonville needs wide receivers. So I believe they go wide receiver and they go ahead and take Jermaine Burton from Alabama University. Philly, really Philly, you know. They take Braylon Dorless from Oregon. San Francisco back at the table again, not looking at wide receivers here. They are pretty interested in Cedric Gray. Buffalo, extremely interested in some pieces here. There's none really, though, that they're in love with. Yeah, none that you're really pounding the table for. But they need another running back. So Audric Estime is the one they choose. Watch the Zach Zinter one. I know it says C plus here, but I could see Zach Zinter turning into a really good guard in the NFL. They need wide receivers. No, I'm sorry, running back. But they're not going to be able to get that, unfortunately. There's nobody really there for them to take. I know Stetson Bennett didn't end up working out, so I think they take Michael Pratt to be the backup to Matthew Stafford and potentially the heir to the throne there. Running back is going to be where they're going to go next. I think they end up choosing. Is it that guy? Oof, this is tough. They go Theo Johnson. Wow, what a draft that was, guys. So, recap it as you guys can see here: Caleb, Jaden, Drake, Marvin, Joe, Malik, Talise Fuega, Dallas, Rome, JC, Jared, JJ, Tarian, Brock, Quentin, Leatu Latu, Nate Wiggins, Troy Fatanu, Cooper DeJean, Alamano Fashanu, Chop Robinson, Jackson Powers Johnson, Byron Murphy, Tyler Guyton, Enos Rackshaw Jr., Darius Robinson, Jordan Morgan, Brian Thomas, Jazir Newton, Adonai Mitchell, Graham Barton, and Xavier Worthy. Troy Franklin to start the second round, Amarius Mims, Edrin Cooper, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Lad McConkey, Keon Coleman, Michael Penix Jr., Braylon Trice, Tyler Nubin, Kamari Lassiter, Bo Nix, Zach Frazier, Kingsley Samarda, Chris Braswell, Cooper Beebe, Chris Jenkins, Braden Fisk, Peyton Wilson, Tavondre Sweat, Patrick Paul, Cameron Kitchens, Xavier Legette, JT Sanders, Michael Hall, Mike Zarenti, Christian Hayes, Roman Wilson, TJ Tampa, Javon Bullard, Rock Oharu, Marshawn Nealand, and Junior Colson. Third round was Adiza Isaac, Jonah Ellis, Jeremiah Trotter, Jonathan Brooks, Blake Corum, Mason Smith, Trey Benson, Kalen Bullock, Max Melton, Ricky Pearsall, Cedric Van Pran, Chris Adams Drain, Braylon Allen, Spencer Rattler, Kyron Amadije, Kayleen Carson, Jaden Hicks, Dominic Punny, Zach Zinter, Kyrie Jackson, Marquise Irving, Cam Hart, Malachi Corley, Cade Stover, Cole Bishop, Christian McHogany, Will Shipley, Devontae Walker, DJ James, Brandon Rice, Leonard Taylor, Jermaine Burton, Brandon Dorlus, Cedric Gray, Audric Estime, Michael Pratt, Theo Johnson. So that's all the picks for the first 3 rounds there. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I know this was a little bit of a long one, but thank you guys for sticking with me. And make sure to, like I said, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.